Hey guys, is your stereo having problems and you need to replace it like this, where I have my tape player in and put on some music? You can tell it's sending a signal over to the right side speakers on the passenger side, but when I shift the balance over to the driver's side, I get nothing. And I'm not just turning down the volume, no, I'm pushing it up here. Just gonna swing the balance. And this is a newly replaced and tested speaker, so I know that the speaker is good. So we are going to be replacing our stereo today. I'm also going to let you listen to how it just sounds running the CD or the tape player just by itself. You can kind of hear it grinding inside there. I don't know how well you guys can actually hear it, but you can kind of tell when the gears are rotating in there. It's kind of making a clacking noise against itself. Let's take it out. You can see it's gone now, so it is actually like the tape player is struggling. And here it's just going and clacking whenever it runs. Okay guys, the first step, as with most electrical component work, is to disconnect our negative battery attachment. And this specific vehicle, however, the battery is inside the wheel well, so it would be much more difficult to access the actual terminal. So what they've done is given us a positive point and a negative point for such equipment work. But if you ever have to actually disconnect the battery itself, you're gonna have to take the tire and flap off and actually go into the wheel well to get to the battery itself. But for this, we are just going to disconnect our jump start attachment, and that will do the same work. You just leave it off to the side there. Shouldn't take us that long, but if you're going to be working on an electrical component longer, maybe bring some tape to keep this fastened away from there so it doesn't accidentally touch it at some point in your work. Okay, right before we get started, one thing I want to mention is that in this process, I'm going to be replacing this stock stereo with another stock stereo. I will not be doing any kind of aftermarket items. This is just if you have a busted stereo and you're fine with how it works, you just want to replace it. I just got mine from the local junkyard, and I'm going to be replacing this with that. So there's no extra items or conditions. This is just a basic part swap for an item that I'm fine with functionality wise. It's just old and broken. So first thing we're going to have to do is take off this panel piece. So to do that, you can either use a specific panel tool or you can use a flathead screwdriver, which is what I'm going to do. But if you care more about your interior and you don't want to get it scratched, you can get a specific tool for these kind of items, or you could put some electrical tape around your flathead. But this usually pops off pretty easily, and I'm not too concerned about the interior of this car. So I'm just gonna go around, and once you get it started, it should be pretty easy to just mull the rest of it off. Just be careful to not tear any of the clips. If you're concerned, just pop it in, screwdriver, and get behind the piece. So this is what it looks like now with our cover off. Okay, next there are two screws that we need to take off. One there, one up there, and both of these in this specific car are with a 10mm head size. So we're just going to go ahead and pop off those. Next, you're just going to grab it and pull it out. It's a little difficult to do this with one hand, but I'll see if I can get it out all the way. There we go. And be careful when you're pulling this out because you still need to unplug everything in the back there. Alright, Alright, so this is what it looks like once it's out of the dash. We'll give you a little backside view here. So we have two connectors right there and there. We have your antenna and also a part of your antenna wire that also goes into the stereo to help keep the cabling organized. So you're gonna have to pull out all four of those to see if I can adjust this somehow. So alright, so now what I'm gonna do is for each one of the connector pieces, there's a tab here that you need to pull up and pull the wire connector out at the same time. Try to do this without obstructing your view. I'm just going to pull up on that and simultaneously pull out the connector very gently. So now we have it out. You can see this middle piece was wedged in the center of that tab, so you're just lifting the tab up so that the centerpiece can get underneath it. Do the same thing with the other one. And now we're going to pull out our antenna. That's out. And last but not least, the piece right here, which kind of works like a plastic panel piece, which you also can just pull out. But if you have trouble with it, you can always pop a screwdriver underneath and adjust it out easily, because this is going to be reused. So you can see it's one of those Christmas trees, as I like to call them. The little panel piece right here that kind of has some teeth to hold itself into these threads there. So it is going to be reused. If you can, try to do it a little delicately. If not, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world. You just don't reuse it or just leave it back there. The wire is still going to be just fine. So now we have our stereo out. Okay, so now we have our old stereo getting replaced with our new / used stereo that we pulled from the local salvage yard. The one thing I'm going to note is this has kind of got some grot and dirt on the actual plastic cover here, and I believe that mine is in a little better condition, so I'm gonna remove this plastic cover and put it on our new stereo, because this one's been sitting around a junkyard for a while. You know, doors open, wind getting in there, it's just kind of dust. It just not as clean. So the way that we're gonna do this is there are 4 little torque screws on each end. There's 2 of them, the little brass looking ones, and there's the other 2, one up there, one down there, one on the bottom, one on top. So we're gonna pop that out on each one and swap them around. Alright, so now we're gonna take our T15 torque screw, or torque bit, game it in, and we're gonna pop out each one of these. Alright, now we're gonna flip it around, do the same thing. Alright, now we got all 4 of them out. So next up, so now, I don't know if you can see, but right on each edge there is a small tab on both sides. There are 4 tabs holding this in, so we're gonna have to pop them up a little bit to get this off, and it should just come right off with it. So get a flathead screwdriver and pop it. And alright, there we go. There you have it. There's our cover. pop the new one in, make sure you grab this piece and push it all the way into the new connector. Be careful not to bust any pins when you're doing it. Make sure that you push it in all the way so you got a good connection there. And then you go ahead and make sure you go ahead and just snap this back into place. Just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and start feeding our screws back into place. And now our new stereo is ready to get put in. Okay, now we're just gonna do the reversal for installation. So grab our antenna. First of all, let's get this thing right side up. Might help. Grab your antenna, pop it in, make sure you hear the click. Same thing with the connectors. Well, actually, I'll put the extra antenna stale piece in there for the Christmas tree. Next, you guys want to just pop in the connectors, same direction, make sure the tab goes through. And go ahead and just slide it in partially. You don't want to put it all the way yet because we want to test out the new system. Alright, now in order to test, make sure you reconnect your negative battery cable. One thing I'm going to say is every time I do this with my vehicle, the alarm goes off because the car's reset. On my other vehicles, this hasn't happened. This is the first one that it's happened with. So if you guys know a certain detail that I'm missing, please comment that below because I would like to know it too. I just haven't really found time to look into why it does that. But if you guys know, go ahead and shoot me a comment on it so I know for the next time around. But there we go, every time. So if you guys know how to prevent it from doing that every time, just shoot a comment below and I'll remember that for the next round. Thank you. Okay, now before you go ahead and screw everything back into place while it's still wired up, you just want to turn on the key and test it. Make sure your new stereo is working. And just turn it on here and see if we can't find a station. Clean it up a bit. There we go, it's working. Now that we know it works, we can go ahead and slide it all the way back into place and get our screws started back up. Now just slide this back over. Try to get, if you're not sure where these go, you can see there's the tab. Inside here is where the tab fits, so they should all line up. There's another one. They should have them all around there, so make sure that your tabs are just lining up with those when you put it back in. But otherwise, it should just look the same way as how you took it out, and it should only really fit in one way for this vehicle. But kind of go around and try to pop in each one at a time until they're all connected. And just to show you guys again, it's all put together, everything's there, just connected. Test out one last time. And our new stereo is in. Alright, thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have anything that you thought I could do better for the next one, please feel free to comment below. And if you like this video and want to see some more, then give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Alright, thanks. Bye.